Yo, we got a different type of video today, man. Why Bobo got banned from the NBA? I did not know Bobo was banned from the NBA. Since when this nigga was banned? I don't remember that happening. But it's a video by my dog. Who made this shit? Get Like Coop. Feel me? Let's see what's going on.
When focusing purely on offense, Bol Bol might just be the closest thing that we've seen to Victor Wembanyama's alien-like skill set. They're far from identical, but Bol's offensive bag undeniably shares some DNA with the phenom who's currently lighting up the NBA. Or at least that's what Shaq says.
I
You've never seen
Bobo.
a guy like Wembanyama. Yes, you have. His name is Bobo.
You think Bobo?
Let me finish my
You think
point.
both black or something?
No, let me finish my point. Wembanyama is just way more consistent than Bobo, but Bobo is the first
I
7
well, first of all,
that we see with
I
Hamilton.
agree. No,
Yes, it is.
First of all, that's no. This
I've
is
seen Bobo.
That's not true.
Wembanyama is way more consistent than Bobo.
He's only played 3 games.
No, he's talking about over his French league and all
Are you
that.
comparing Wembanyama to Bobo?
Bobo is the first 7'4" guy that we've seen come out with the handle, shoot the threes. Yes.
Bobo is what? How tall is Bobo? Bobo is 7'3". What the fuck?
Y'all acting like y'all ain't never seen a guy like that before. Bobo's the first guy. That's all I'm
First of all,
saying. And I stand on what I say. You can yell, bro. You can yell all you want. I stand on what I say.
I didn't yell at you.
I'm standing on what I'm saying.
Okay,
Kenny,
well, you stand.
and Kenny and Ernie agrees with me.
No,
I
Bobo is
agree
the first guy.
that the lack of
Bobo
consistency.
just don't play hard. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm just noticing everything.
Yeah.
I just realized that what Shaq's cup says, but
First of all,
That's right.
look at his cup. Can you get a close up on this?
I have 4 rings. How about you? Nigga popping it.
Like,
What are you
wait,
talking
Yeah, you
what
talk
is all
about it.
these things that I have never seen before,
I'm
like
just-
popping up?
hey,
I have 4 rings. What about
You're
Bobo?
really gonna compare Bobo to Wembanyama?
Bobo's the first big guy with that 7'4" with handles that can shoot the three, passing ability. Y'all act like y'all ain't never
Well,
seen
no,
a
I
guy
didn't say
like
no.
that.
I didn't say not gonna see. The first time
Well,
I
Dirk
ever seen
Nowitzki
it was
played like
no,
that.
7'4".
No, I said
You know what
Ralph Sampson.
7'4".
Ralph Sampson didn't dribble like this kid.
If he
no, he
was
didn't.
playing
No.
in this era, he would dribble.
You don't
with this
know
thing.
that. Stop
Because
it.
in our era, he was doing regular crossovers, and that was
Bobo's the first guy.
Shaq has had some terrible takes and also moments like telling Jokic to his face that he shouldn't be the MVP in 2024.
Joker, as the president of the Big Man Alliance, you are the vice president of the Big Man Alliance. You know I love you, the best player in the league. I want to congratulate you, but I want you to hear from me first. I thought the SGA should have been the MVP. That's no disrespect to you, but congratulations. And what do you guys have to do to get back on track versus Minnesota?
Thank you, Shaq. We don't judge people here, so that's fine. It's your opinion.
He also said that, wait, what do we care what Shaq said? We all know that the mate has had some bad moments and gives out bad takes every now and then. But just like watching somebody get cooked up for saying something that you low-key kind of agreed with, watching Shaq get cooked for that Bol take was brutal. Because it was a chaotic take, but his word salad wasn't completely wrong. Bol isn't Wemby and comparisons won't change that, but throughout the course of Bol's career, he has produced some highlights that are like, dang, that kind of looked like Wemby. And this is because they share a few of the same ridiculous traits and skills. Wemby clears Bol in athleticism and impact by miles, but even with just some partial overlap, that should still translate to some baseline value when you share some of the same things as someone who has a legitimate pathway to becoming the greatest to ever do it. Shaq's right. It's not the skills with Bol, it's the hunger. The streets are saying that the motor questions and lack of overall impact are loud enough that even
Bobo
desperate
is
teams have
tough.
passed. I still think he belongs, but making it to October unsigned is a strong warning sign that his career is still headed in the wrong direction. We have to talk about everything that's been happening with Bol and his next
We have got to the point
he
where
got blood
literally
clots?
anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is
chapter. But before we go any further, if you guys have been enjoying the content, then be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I know it all seems like nothing, but it all goes a very long way in supporting the channel. In high school, scouts firmly believed that Bol Bol was destined for greatness, which is why agencies like ESPN gave him a 5-star rating with a 96 out of 100 grade. He was widely considered to be the best big man in his class in 2018 before he got to college, and this was something that was still happening once he got to college, as he showed no problem adapting to college hoops, posting averages of 21 points, 10
Double-double.
rebounds, and 3 blocks per night on 63% true shooting in his first 9 games as a D1 basketball player. Even in that stacked class of 2018 that included basketball anomalies like Zion Williamson and Ja Morant, he was touted as one of the guys who could take a top spot in the draft. But things didn't go as smoothly as they were projected. Bol Bol suffered a stress fracture in his left foot just before playing in his 10th college game. It was an injury that drew comparisons to Joel Embiid's that kept him off of the floor for multiple seasons even after he was drafted, or even the one that caused Yao Ming's retirement.
What?
This was an injury capable of sending a top prospect plummeting down the NBA lottery, just like we saw with Michael Porter Jr., who had once also been widely regarded as a top prospect. For Bol Bol, though, this injury was just chapter 1 of an even wilder story. Bol pulled up to the draft combine at 7'2.5" with a 7'7" wingspan.
God damn, nigga.
But just weighing 208 pounds, down from a reported 235 pounds during his days at Oregon. For context, that's only 3 pounds heavier than Bryce Young, a 5'10" quarterback for the Panthers whose job description includes dodging 300-pound linemen every Sunday. More and more scouts and teams started seeing Bol Bol as the NBA draft's ultimate roll of the dice. Experts labeled him the biggest gamble of 2019. But the red flags didn't stop there. Alarms went off after Bol reportedly struggled during pre-draft medical exams, and whispers about his attitude spread like wildfire, torpedoing his stock at the worst possible moment, just ahead of one of the biggest nights of his life. The message was clear. Bol Bol had the talent capable of breaking the game
That
wide
nigga had the fucking craziest free forms ever, fool. That shit is crazy.
The message was clear. Bol Bol had the talent capable of breaking the game wide open, but drafting him, that meant walking a tightrope without a safety net. Teams saw the boom or bust nature and chose caution, letting a potential lottery prize tumble completely out of the first round. I vividly remember how down bad and borderline delusional I was about Bol Bol back in 2019. With all those Anthony Davis rumors flying around, I was on X posting absolute nonsense, like legitimately tweeting that a lineup of Lonzo, Drew, Kuzma, Nico, Bol Bol, and Jello looks good. I had to slow down when I said Jello because the guy's like doing concerts now. What was I thinking? I was mostly trolling there, but that didn't stop me from posting about how perfect Bol Bol would look next to Julius Randle in New Orleans with some seriousness. I was pushing that Bol Bol agenda pretty hard, and just check out all of these Bol Bol videos that I have uploaded to my channel. I've really believed in this man. Sadly, 2019 wasn't exactly a banner year for my draft takes, but even MJ missed a few shots every now and then. Finally, Bol Bol would be picked up with the 44th pick in the 2019 draft.
With the 44th pick in the 2019 NBA draft, the Miami Heat select Bol Bol.
We drafted Bol Bol and we let him go? We could have worked with him. I would have went to the crib and had a talk with that boy.
Khartoum, Sudan, and the University of Oregon.
A pick that belonged to the Heat, but had been traded to the Denver Nuggets. Although the franchise then had VP Tim Connolly pulling the strings, who had experience developing and getting the most out of talent, as we saw with Jokic. They were unable to do the same with Bol Bol. In his rookie season, he barely played around an hour and a half of NBA basketball. His sophomore season, he saw the court for 160 minutes, just under 3 hours. And
Gotta
in
be.
his third season,
I ain't gonna lie, Bol Bol would probably be a good fit for our tallest player is Bam Adebayo. Bobo probably would be what we had needed at that time. Who we had at that time? Bobo would have developed,
He only
bro.
played 81 minutes. That's under an hour and a half of minutes. In total, he played 328 minutes in Denver. That's the number of minutes that in total, that's under. And in his third season, he only played 81 minutes.
Damn.
That's under an hour and a half of minutes. In total, he played 328 minutes in Denver. That's the number of minutes that a starting player coached by Thibs plays in about 2 or 3 weeks. Bol leaving Denver felt inevitable. Between battling injuries, being stuck in a crowded front court behind one of the greatest
Creating custom clothing
One of the
labels with
greatest
TapStitch
centers
is
of all
easy.
time.
Go to your branding tab, choose your label size and background, upload your
centers ever, and a franchise relentlessly chasing its first championship, his path to playing time was already narrow. Add to that,
That was a
Bull's
nice
own
list.
admission that he could have worked a lot harder, and it's clear why his Nuggets chapter didn't have a happy ending. The Nuggets tried to trade him to the Pistons in January of 2022, but the trade was voided due to Bull's medical issues. A little over a week
Can't trade
later,
a player
he
while
was
they
traded to
injured.
the Celtics in a 3-team trade with the Spurs, only to get flipped to the Orlando Magic. Bull landed in Florida essentially still a rookie, but the mad scientist Jamal Mosley rolled the dice on him, and Bull delivered. He suited up for 70 games, earned 33 starts, and rewarded that trust by averaging 9.1 points, 5.8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, and 1 assist, shooting an efficient
His
54.6%
first year in
from
the
the field.
league, for real, for real.
Even if the 26.5% from deep left room for improvement, those numbers were pretty good for Bull. But beyond a few standout moments like a 26-12 effort in a loss to Minnesota, or dropping 24 points in a tough defeat to Brooklyn, Bull's highlights rarely translated into meaningful results. When he was on the floor, the Magic ranked among the league's worst teams,
closed out
going
all.
just 26-44 with him, compared to an 8-4 record without. Ultimately, the flashy glimpses weren't enough to convince Orlando to keep him around for the long haul, yet those tantalizing flashes caught the attention of a Suns team fresh off of assembling one of the priciest big threes that the league had ever seen. Phoenix having invested heavily in their
Is that
star
my
three-
nigga? James? Is that you? What's up, Unc? My uncle right
found
there.
themselves strapped for options at center, creating a scenario where Bull could thrive purely out of the team's desperation. James Jones and Matt Ishbia had placed their bets on Yusuf Nurkic, a recognizable name, but one whose athleticism had noticeably faded and whose career trajectory was clearly trending downward. In the NBA, Bull didn't exactly have a defensive reputation as he was a bad defender. But for a team that needed something in the paint, there was a small chance that his rim protection could pop and his offense would flash. Yet, once again, Bull found himself glued to the bench for much of the season until the second half, when he got his shot. Not long after, he would explode with a 25-point, 14-rebound showcase against the Rockets. It looked like the breakthrough, only for him to vanish again come playoff time. Still,
What?
heading into the 2025 season, there was optimism that Budenholzer might finally unleash Bull. He earned 10 starts, flashing his upside with standout games, 25 points with 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 assists. Another with
3
23
rebounds is
points,
crazy.
8 boards, and 2 blocks. And an impressive night stuffing the stat sheet with 18 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks.
That's
His
nice.
average plus minus during these starts was relatively solid at minus 1.6. Actually better than the Suns team average point differential of minus 3, suggesting that Bull had quietly started putting something together. Bull wasn't exactly the second coming of a prime Clint Capella that the Suns had been needing so badly. It's underrated how poorly that their roster was constructed, but he certainly wasn't the villain of their story either. At worst, he was a useful bench piece who had earned the right to see some minutes, and at best, a wild card that still had room to surprise everyone. But an unexpected twist during
Fucking
a
blood.
seemingly routine matchup against the Rockets would once again alter the trajectory of his career. Chris Haynes reported how Bol Bol lost his spot in the rotation, and if true, then it was a very tough way to lose a spot. According to his sources, Budenholzer got angry with the center for shooting layups while his teammate Mason Plumlee was involved in an altercation with Steven Adams.
The Suns were playing the Rockets when Steven Adams.
Steven layup reported how alter the trajectory of career. Chris Haynes reported how Bol Bol lost his spot in the rotation, and if true, then it was a very tough way to lose a spot. According to his sources, Budenholzer got angry with
Y'all
spot
see him? He's
of
right
his
here.
career. Chris Haynes
But-
reported how Bol then it was was involved in an altercation with Steven Adams.
The Suns were playing the Rockets when Steven Adams and Mason Plumlee got into that altercation. Got a little scuffle on the ground. Players start to run and pull other players off. Bol in the background shooting layups. He didn't run to the incident. League sources told me Coach Budenholzer was irate when he saw that. When he saw that Bol did not
That nigga
run
put
to
up
the
a leg.
defense of his teammate. Bol, after being in the rotation for over a month, was out of the rotation for the remainder of the season.
That's exactly why Bol Bol
That's some
apparently fell out of the
bullshit.
rotation. I have to say things like apparently and allegedly just because there's no way, right? We are not in the Malice at the Palace era anymore, and that's okay. What is Bol Bol supposed to do with Steven Adams? The man would have to move up about 10 boxing weight classes to even think about doing something, as would most people in the NBA. Just look at Steven Adams. This guy is a unit. He didn't care that Yusuf Nurkic was completely unplayable during some phases of the season. He still didn't want to play Bol. But to be honest, a lot of his decisions just didn't make any sense. He left Devin Booker out to dry, and he tried to get Bradley Beal to play like Drew Holiday. The Bol Bol thing seemed completely on par with everything else.
Man, they
that he
coach
was
is an
doing.
asshole,
But
gang.
Even so, while Bol Bol has been praised by legends like Ralph Sampson or Shaq, Bol Bol would enter the start of training camp without a contract. It seems like the NBA has unfortunately put Bol Bol on his last legs also, which is sad because he should for sure be in a rotation for
They
a
trying
team,
blackball
not just
him.
on
Bobo,
it.
make a
Again,
YouTube, man.
I know.
They trying to blackball you. Bobo, go make a YouTube channel. You feel me? And if they don't want to sign you, fucking BTS of the best dressed NBA player or some shit, just go crazy with the fashion, mix it with the just spam previous NBA and every title. You'll be alright.
Bol
You'll be
Bol
alright.
hasn't
And you can
been
hoop on your
some
channel
huge
too and tell them niggas
defensive
fuck you, nigga, suck
but
a
his
dick.
shot blocking is a trait that's hard to find at the NBA level, and even just that trait, in my opinion, should have him in rotations. Forget the flashy highlights or the floor spacing potential that he brings offensively. I don't know what to tell you guys. I still see it with Bol Bol. Do you guys think that everything that has happened to Bol Bol is fair? Or
Fuck
are you
no.
like me and think that something stinks about this whole situation?
Oh
Let
God,
me know what
y'all
you guys
ass being
think
weird.
of
Y'all
this
being bogus as
entire
hell on
situation.
photo.
Anyways, there's some more going on in the
Yeah, I don't feel like hearing what you got to talk about. Hey, they bogus as fuck for that, though. They bogus as hell for that. But I ain't gonna lie though, my nigga. This is kind of crazy. This is... Where is it at? Where is it at? Is it right here?
certainly wasn't the villain of
I can't find this shit. When he was sitting under the rim.
of their story either. It worked.
Nigga, double ass, nigga. The hell?
First, he was sources. Budenholzer got angry with the center for shooting layups while his teammate Mason Plumlee was involved in an altercation with Steven Adams.
The Suns were playing the Rockets when Steve didn't run to the incident. League sources told me Coach Budenholzer.
This is crazy, my nigga. This is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Me personally, I'm not fighting Steven Adams neither. But you didn't even have to fight him. If you would have pulled a KD, all you had to do was pull a KD, just put the ball down and go stand right here. You would have been straight. He just ain't give a fuck. But he ain't taking that serious though. Like he ain't really think nothing was gonna happen. Ain't nothing really happened to them boys.
Irate when he saw that. When
they
he
were
saw
just
that,
hugging
Bo
and fell
did
to the
not
floor.
Run to the.
But next video, y'all. Fuck with y'all, man.